What is up, everyone? Welcome back to an RD charting video. Happy Election Tuesday. Right now, the markets are basically predicting a Trump victory. Still pretty close as we sit at, honestly, at 12 a.m. on Election Wednesday. Hope you voted. It's always a good thing to do, I would say. It's fun to participate, at least, right? But I wanted to go over Delta today, and I put one of the biggest trades ever, one of the biggest options trades I've done, and I put it on Delta. You can see where I did release one YouTube video on Delta. I did release a video here, I believe, on Delta, and then it rocketed the next day, and then I release another YouTube video and it plummets. So, it's a classic market thing, right? But as you can see, the trend is super strong on Delta here. And I've got some really bullish thesis, right? I mean, if you watch my videos, I don't remember exactly how much detail I went into, but basically Delta is in a really strong uptrend right now. And yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue like it's so steep. Like, look how steep that angle is on that trend line. But because of all the huge rough history that Delta has had, in some ways that makes me, believe almost that much more in the trend higher that Delta is currently experiencing because it's basically leaving behind all this um, massive volatility. And now it's basically got one destination, and that's higher. Obviously, things remain to be seen. Nothing's ever perfect. It could pull back again, like it did here. You know, but overall, I am pretty confident in the long term on Delta. And that is why I put my options trade on. And the other reason I put my options trade on today was because of the election, because I figured, well, if Trump ends up winning, um, theoretically, the price of oil is going to go down. And just in general, that's going to, it's pushed the market higher this evening so far. So that's kind of why I did it today, and rather than waiting. So if you don't know, a lot of you guys might not know this out here, but TradingView has an options strategy builder now. I don't know how old it is. It's really quite new as far as um, I know, because I found it only like a few months ago, and not really there weren't even all the symbols that you would want on here, because it's so new. I think they're just adding symbols over time. So it's cool to see, though. Really cool to see that that they're building this, and so I'll actually model out my options trade for you guys here. So we're going to get a little technical. So if you love the markets, if you're interested in options, you'll love it. But I understand other people who might not really be as thrilled. So what I did was I opened up the Delta January 2026 62.5 strike. And I have 12 calls there. I have 12 calls there. So I haven't really played around with this tool much. There's a few different things that I haven't played around with this tool. But and then what I did was I sold the calls for um, 64 strike, December 6th. So I'll change out the sell, and I sold 7 of them. So this is my options trade modeled out for us. So what you can see is basically I'll profit, and I put it on a little earlier in the day. So I think this should be basically if Delta expires December 20th um, at 64 strike. I think my profit when I put the trade on, it was forecasted to be $5,000. Um, and then because I bought these a little bit earlier than that price there, and but I did sell these a little earlier than the price here. So, um, but basically, I brought in $657 for December 6th, not 12/20. I apologize. So if in the next month, Delta closes below 64, I will get $657. But if it closes over 64, that's fine because I'm up quite significantly in my position, and I'm okay with that, obviously. Um, that's a really big win for me, and I'd be thrilled about this occurrence. Plus two, what I could always do if you're not familiar with options, I could always roll my sold calls. You can roll those out into time. And because you're up on your position, that's overall, it's no problem to roll your sold calls further in time because that gives you that gives you some protection against the downside, but also it gives you the opportunity to try to make a little more money. So again, as I've gone over Delta, uh, you have really some potential awesome movements that could happen. Um, Certainly up to 64. That's our first target here. But if you take some of these other forecasts that I've drawn up, you could get up into 76 and whatnot. So if you're trading this for yourself, I definitely recommend caution. Again, the market can always give us some nasty little pullbacks and whatnot, or nasty major pullbacks like you see here. So, you got to exercise caution. Probably the best idea, not financial advice, of course. The best idea would be to just buy some Delta over time and see how you feel in your position. Um, because again, if it pulls back to $50, that's gonna be a little bit painful for my long-term calls. And yeah, I will have received the $657 credit um, of cash, that cash I brought in, but overall, that would be kind of painful. And then you would just hope that it kind of keeps marching higher overall. Um, but what it's looking like right now is it's certainly looking like, it wants to just keep moving and trending higher. So only time will tell. But wanted to cover this real quick with you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you want anything else covered, if you want other options modeled. Always happy to do it. Always happy to dive deeper into the markets. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Adios.